Elminster died before sunrise. At least, that is what the first letter claimed. A merchant from Shadowdale, someone who had seen the battle, or claimed to have seen it, or had heard from someone who had, wrote that the old mage fell beneath collapsing stone in the final hour of darkness. The letter was brief, certain. It named the exact tower, the exact moment, the exact way the stone had fallen. I read it and felt the cold weight of Historica. By noon, another messenger swore he had seen the old mage ride in east beneath a sky still burning with black fire. The witness was a ranger, someone trained in observation, someone whose profession depended on accurate reporting. He described Elminster's cloak, his horse, the bewakenabation of his travel, the way he held the reins in his left hand because his right was bandaged. Details that do not emerge from rumor. Details that emerge from sight. Both witnesses sounded certain. That is the thing I cannot stop thinking about. Not that they disagreed. Disagreement is the natural state of testimony, the friction from which truth is eventually refined. It was the certainty. Neither man hedged, neither qualified, neither said, "I believe," or "it appeared," or "from what I could tell." One said dead, one said alive. Both said it as though the alternative was unthinkable. Within 3 days, Candlekeep received 11 conflicting reports. I pinned each one across the archive wall, arranging them by date, by location, by the direction of the wind on the day they were written. Any variable that might explain why 11 different witnesses had witnessed 11 different fates for the same man. One described Elminster buried beneath collapsing stone. Another insisted he stood untouched inside a wall of blue flame. A third swore Bane had struck him down personally. "I saw the black hand close around him," the letter said, "and when the hand opened, there was nothing inside." A priest of Mistra, one of the few who still dared to speak her name aloud, wrote that the archmage had vanished into silver mist at the moment of the killing blow. "He did not die," the priest insisted. "He chose to stop being present. There is a difference." I wanted to ask what that difference was. I wanted to ask how vanishing into silver mist was meaningfully distinct from death. But the priest had already fled westward by the time his letter reached me, and my questions followed him into the same silence that was swallowing so much of Faerun. The smell of wet ink never left my chamber during those days. Every courier arrived exhausted, their boots coated in the same grey dust from Shadowdale. Dust that I later learned was not soil, but pulverized stone. The remains of buildings that had stood for centuries before Bane came. The couriers argued with one another before my desk, each defending a different version of the same battle. "I was there," one would say. "You were on the western ridge," another would reply. "I was in the valley," as though geography alone could explain why one man saw survival and another saw death. I searched older records, hoping history might offer guidance. The archives of Candlekeep contain accounts of every major conflict in Faerun's recorded history. The Crown Wars, the fall of Netheril, the Dragon Rage. In every case, the early reports were confused, contradictory, unreliable. I knew this, but I had never experienced it as the confusion was happening. I had only ever read the corrected versions, the histories written decades later by scholars who had the luxury of comparing sources and choosing the ones that fit. What I found, buried in a marginal note, written by an archivist who served Candlekeep during the Dawn Cataclysm, centuries before my birth, was not guidance. It was a warning. The first casualty of every war is the certainty of those who record it. By the time the truth arrives, the witnesses are dead, the battlefields have been replanted, and history has already decided what it wants to remember. Your duty is not to choose the story you prefer. Your duty is to preserve every fragment, because the fragment you discard today may be the only survivor of the truth tomorrow. I copied that sentence into my journal. Then I underlined it. Then I returned to the 11 reports on my wall and forced myself to look at them not as contradictions to be resolved, but as survivors to be preserved. Each one was true to the person who wrote it. Each one captured something real. If not the objective fate of Elminster, then at least the subjective experience of watching gods make war and trying to understand what your eyes were showing you. One letter troubled me more than all the others. Its author, a traveling scribe who had been in Shadowdale to copy legal documents before the siege began, admitted something that no other witness had the humility to confess. She had seen Elminster twice within the same hour, in 2 different places. Once at the northern gate, directing a line of archers with the calm precision of someone who had done this 100 times. Once at the southern wall, standing alone against a wave of black fire with nothing but a staff and the expression of a man who had stopped counting the odds. Which one was real? She wrote. I do not know. I am a scribe. I copy words. I do not interpret miracles. But I will tell you what I believe. And if you record it as belief and not as fact. I believe both were real. I believe that when a wizard of Elminster's power faces a god, he does not choose between defense and offense, between protecting his people and confronting his enemy. He does both, simultaneously, and somewhere in the doing, he becomes 2 versions of himself, one for each impossible task. I know this sounds like madness, but I also know what I saw, and I saw him twice. Tonight, I cannot tell you whether Elminster lives or lies beneath the ashes of Shadowdale. I cannot tell you whether the blue flame shielded him or consumed him. I cannot tell you whether the old mage is riding east towards some new confrontation or lying still beneath stone that has not yet cooled. My duty, as the archivist who wrote that warning reminded me across the centuries, is not to choose the story I prefer. It is to preserve every fragment, every contradiction, every impossible claim, until the truth has survived the war it was born into. If even the fate of Faerun's greatest archmage cannot be confirmed, then certainty itself has become another casualty of this crisis. And if Elminster can be both dead and alive, depending on which witness you believe, then what else in my chronicle have I recorded as fact that deserved to be recorded as mystery? Next week, a new report arrives from the Trade Way, where travelers claim they shared the road with the god Tyr himself, and where, for the first time since the gods fell, the testimony may actually be unambiguous.
The Impossible Archive is open. New episodes every week. Subscribe before the next entry disappears.